You've got all your fresh organic produce home from the store, unloaded from the bags. What do we do with it now to keep it as fresh as possible? Well, on the raw diet, where chances are going to eat it so quickly that we're not going to have to worry about it spoiling, but there are some precautions that we can take to make sure our groceries stay as fresh as long as possible. We want to make sure that all that extra money we spent on organic, and we do buy organic because we're worth it, gets used efficiently. So let's roll through some things really quick. I'll let you in on a few tricks and tips. Some things can just go straight in their produce bags, keep them in their produce bags and put them right in the fridge. Those things would be peppers, sweet peppers, red, yellow, orange. They can all be stored just fine in their produce bags. Celery can be stored in its produce bag. So can cucumbers, and carrots and beets. Now, the rest of these things, I want to give you a couple of tips. Broccoli also. Broccoli can just be kept in its produce bag and stored in the refrigerator. All these things keep really, really well. The rest of it keeps well too. I just want to give you a few pointers. Onions, delicious, yummy onions, especially sweet onions, are going to spoil faster if you store them with potatoes. Now, of course, on the raw diet, I don't eat potatoes, so I don't have to really worry about that. You won't while you're on the cleanse. But nevertheless, if you already have potatoes in your garage or in your produce drawer, they will cause your onions to go bad faster. So keep onions and potatoes separate. Apples, delicious, and they store very, very well. This is another thing that you can maybe store in the garage or in a cool area. You don't even have to store them in the fridge. Onions, same way. All your root vegetables can just be stored in a cool place. But apples will cause other fruits to ripen quicker, for good or for bad. That depends. If you have some bananas and you want to eat one tomorrow and they're really green, you can put them in a paper bag with an apple and twist it closed, and it's going to help those bananas ripen faster. Same with avocados. Maybe you have avocados you want to use for a party, pop them in a bag with some apples, twist it closed. They will cause the avocado to ripen faster. However, you may not want things to be ripening faster because they could go off. So keep that in mind. Keep your apples separate unless you intentionally are trying to get things to ripen faster. Tomatoes, delicious, yummy tomatoes. You can keep these in the window. They do not have to go in the refrigerator unless they are so ripe and tender. You can feel that they're getting a little soft. Maybe they're going to go past ripe and you want to use them right away. Obviously, that's the case with anything, avocados, anything that you want to keep it from going off, go ahead and pop it in the fridge. Otherwise, these can stay out. They do not need to be in the refrigerator. As a matter of fact, I think they taste better when they're not refrigerated. So that covers the basics. The other one thing I would note is that you may notice here I have my avocados spread out on a tray here. And I have trained my family to eat from left to right on our avocado tray. Now, the reason that I do that is because avocados, if I put them all in one bag, the really ripe avocados will force the less ripe avocados to ripen more quickly. Now, we tend to eat avocados almost daily around here. So what I like to do is buy some that are green and some that are ready to eat. So that way, by Thursday or Friday in the week, I have some avocados that are delicious and ready to eat. So we eat from right to left on our little avocado tray. You can keep them in the window and train yourself to do the same. Because avocados will cause themselves to ripen faster. The ripe ones will cause the green ones to ripen. You don't want your avocados going bad. Now, if you start to get avocados that are soft, again, pop them in the fridge and they'll keep for another few days longer. So that ought to take you through those. The more difficult thing to keep fresh is your greens, obviously. So let me show you the easiest way to keep your greens fresh, happy, crisp, and yummy. Now, something like this, a beautiful, delicious, organic head of lettuce, I mean, that is so gorgeous. Now, on our raw foods diet, we're going to eat this so quick, we're really not going to have to worry about it going bad. So we could just leave it on the head of lettuce, leave it all together. Take a paper towel. Let me just show you how to do this. Take a paper towel and just wrap it around there so that we know any extra moisture is actually going to go into the paper towel. It's not going to be drawn into the leaves. All the extra humidity will be pulled into the paper towel. Now, what that does is it stops those wet, yucky, rotting spots that happen. Now, those may happen anyways if the leaf has been damaged or mushed or broken in some way. If you notice that when you get the lettuce home, pull that part off and throw it away, and it'll keep the lettuce fresh longer. Now, I could just slide this right back into a produce bag and store it that way if I know I'm going to be using it really quickly. However, I do like to go ahead and wash it rinse the leaves, and put them in the salad spinner and spin it dry. I get the leaves really, really dry, and then I just go ahead and store the lettuce right in the spinner. You can see I've put a paper towel in here. Again, all the paper towel is doing is wicking moisture out of the surrounding air into the paper towel and keeping it from making the lettuce soggy, because that's what's gonna make it wilt and get all nasty. Now that will keep in the fridge just like that. That way, when I get home and I'm busy, I just pop this open. I know this lettuce is clean, crisp, ready to go, and I don't even have to rinse it and wait for it to dry. So that's another way that you can handle the lettuce. Now, this time of year, the spinach is sometimes good, sometimes not. Sometimes our local organic market has it, sometimes it doesn't. So oftentimes we'll end up buying our organic spinach in this way from Earthbound Farms or whatever maker you might have locally. Now, when you buy it this way, the spinach is crammed in here. Let me show you one that hasn't been opened. This one is the small one. And you can see these lettuce leaves are just like rammed in here. Now, what I've done is I went ahead and opened one and I emptied it out. What I did as I empty it out, I simply look through each and every leaf as it's dumping into the container. So I save the old container, I line it with a paper towel, again, paper towel just wicking moisture away. As I dump the greens in here from the box when I buy it, I just look for anything that might be brown, black, green, green of the wrong shade that is just not looking good. And I make sure that I get all of that out of here. So everything that's actually in this bag is clean, crisp, and ready to go. I breathe in here. It's my food, so I don't mind breathing on it. Now, that's a trick my grandma taught me. It might just be in my head that it works, but I have the best luck keeping greens fresh just by doing that. Kind of makes sense, right? They respire oxygen out, carbon dioxide in, so it could make sense. Could just be something, a wives' tale that I'm passing on down to my daughter. So that's the way that you want to keep your big leafy greens fresh. Paper towel to wick the moisture away, and loosey-goosey. You do not want to be mashing your green leafy vegetables into produce bags or into containers. Give them lots of air. Keep the old one, and when you get the new one, put half the container in here and keep half the container in the old one. That's fine. Also, it's making good use of those big pieces of plastic so they don't just end up in landfills. Basil, also very tender, very easy to bruise, can be very difficult to store. Again, we use this so quickly, it really doesn't have time to spoil. Dill, mint, cilantro, parsley, all the same concept. If you just keep the moisture out, these spices will stay fresh longer. Another trick for keeping these really tender leaf spices fresh is when you put them in the bag. Let me just grab one. So you have your little organic produce bag here. I'm going to blow this up just like a balloon. I'm going to take a paper towel. Again, that's just keeping the moisture out. I'm going to wrap this in here just like I'm giving someone a lovely little bouquet. I'm going to gently put that back in there. Now when I go to close it, I actually twist it shut just like that. Now what that does is if it's in the fridge and somebody comes home in a rush and they shove something in the refrigerator and they mash those beautiful basil leaves, they're going to go brown and get nasty within a couple of hours. This gives it a little padding. This is even how I bring them home from the grocery store, so that when the checkout gal, beeps them across her little machine and shoves them in a bag, they actually stay fresh a lot longer. So that's the trick. You want to pad them to give them plenty of space. You want to give the paper towel in there to wick away any moisture, and you definitely want to pull off any bad leaves. Cilantro being the one that tends to hide a lot of the nasty leaves in the middle. So let me see my cilantro here. This is on a twisty tie, so let me just show you here. I'm going to pull that right off, and sure enough, look there. Right in the middle is all these brown little leaves. This one actually isn't too bad. But these things that have already started to go south on you, that rotting, decomposing, the enzymes that's causing that to happen are going to cause all the rest of that bunch of cilantro to get bad too quickly. So just get all the dirty ones, the dead ones out of there, get the paper towel in there, clean it, dry it, make sure it has plenty of room, and it should keep fresh all week long.